Good evening. Welcome to Paxton Road Preview Show. Tottenham Hotspur versus Bournemouth. It's that time of the week. It's the squeaky bum time where Tottenham Hotspur will be playing football. And who knows what's going to happen. Life is like a box of chocolates, especially when you're Tottenham Hotspur, because you never know what you're going to get, what team you're going to get, and most importantly, who's going to be on the Paxton Road Preview Show. But I'm telling you now, I can guarantee you that this man, Mr. Sam Spurs for life, and this man, Mr. Sean Hurl, i.e. Tottenham Tifosi 61, will always be in the house.
I can't even pronounce what he's put there, so I don't even bother.
I had to look at it. How are we, boys?
All right. We ain't played. I keep saying every time we do this, we ain't played yet, so it's all good. It's no bad.
Are you, Sean? Have you recovered from last week?
Yeah, I've just had a good chuckle at watching Stellini's press conference this afternoon.
Was it that good?
Well, let's say he used the term attacking football, which I get the impression he wouldn't know if it jumped up and bit him on the arse. But, anyway, it was amusing to say the least, I could imagine the journalists assembled were going, But anyway, yeah, you have to find your joy somewhere.
Absolutely. Do you know what? I totally agree with you. Before we go any further, thank you everyone for joining us again on a lovely Friday evening, which is not, it's raining again. Please ensure you're subscribed to our channel and smash that like button, please, because it only takes 1 second to smash that like button before we go on to the preview show. So please just smash it quickly. Just do it now. Do it. Right. So Tottenham Hotspur versus Bournemouth, 3 o'clock kickoff tomorrow. Let's get into this right now. And let me present. Where's it gone? Here we go. Before we go any further, guys, are you looking forward to tomorrow's game?
To be fair, I think we'll win. I don't think it'll be a comfortable win. We don't do comfortable wins, but I think we'll win. We'll get to the score lines. But yeah, confident before we go into the game. I'm not sure what reason I've got to be confident, but home game, a team that is fighting for relegation. Again, the same old adage, score first. They'll have to keep attacking, and we, with our counter-attack game, should be able to pick them off.
Yeah, do you know what? It's the same old, isn't it? We're so confident week in, week out. We should win the game, as the stats will tell us again, week after week. But Sean, are you confident?
Sorry, I'm a wee bit stunned there because there's a player there in the Spurs training I don't recognise.
And he's smiling as well. I don't know what he's got a smile on his face for.
Where did he come from? Yeah. Interestingly enough, he used to play for Bournemouth, I'm told. So anyway, it's much the same, isn't it? Can we beat a team who are capable of very good performances in recent weeks? They beat Liverpool at home recently. They're picking up points. They seem to be the team that are trying their level best to get out of the bottom three. They're certainly better than Leicester and Forest in that front. And it's Dr. Tottenham, isn't it? It's always Dr. Tottenham. Always.
I totally agree with you, mate. It's always Dr. Tottenham.
The Spurs NHS need help, Spurs, yeah.
The Spurs NHS needs help. That's right. Yeah. You know what? It's like you said, isn't it? It sums it up. Everyone's confident, but we just don't know what's going to happen. And unfortunately, it's the life of Tottenham Hotspur Football Club, where we're like a box of chocolates. We never know. We're never, ever gonna know what's going to happen. I'm just having a little bit of difficulty, as you can see, because for some reason, my thing's not working. So just bear with me. You guys carry on chatting, please.
Well, I can do that. And I'm sure Sean can do that as well.
Yeah, carry on.
We did a lot of talking. Was it yesterday we did talking points?
Yeah, it was it's a really good show, actually. Yeah,
it was excellent, and we had a lot to discuss. As I said, I've been trying to avoid too much in-depth talking about Tottenham because, as I said, until we know what's really happening at the end of the season with a lot of stuff, a lot of players, manager situation, blah blah blah. We just don't know, and all we need to do for the end of the season is to perform. Now you're hoping that these players can perform because there is still something to play for. Look, you've just put the table up there.
We'll talk about that. Yeah,
we should be able to
we
motivate.
Exactly right. So going into tomorrow's game, as you can see, Arsenal at top, 30 games, 73 points. Man City, 29 games, 67 points. Newcastle, 29, 56. Manchester United, 29, 56. Tottenham Hotspur, 30 games, 53 points. And 15th position, 30 games, 30 points, Bournemouth, who've had, I think you mentioned it, last couple of games, they've had some decent form. But what matters for us is this 3rd, 4th, and 5th. Again, we ask this question every week. How important is this game? This game, again, is really important because they've both got a game in hand and they're both 3 points ahead of us. So we need to win this game again tomorrow to keep the momentum going because Newcastle are playing Aston Villa, Man United are playing Nottingham Forest. We've got Bournemouth. We don't care about the other teams. We've got to do what we've got to do. We've got to win the game. So again, going back to the table, guys, is this a very important game for us again? Sean?
Well, Stellini said that it's a one as is I think it's a cliche that he just likes repeating that it's one of our 8 cup finals. And I suppose we have to treat it like that. If we want to get up as high at the table as we can, there's a certain vulnerability about Manchester United who are now suffering a series of injuries at inappropriate time for them, whilst they also have commitments in the FA Cup and Europa League. I don't think we can catch Newcastle, but obviously I think for the 4th spot it could be between us and Man United. I wouldn't rule out a late run from Villa, who seem to put stronger results together. But I mean, getting top 4 and deserving top 4 is an incredible juxtaposition in this. What has been, to be honest, I don't want to use a rude word, but a curate's egg, shall I say, of a season. I mean, with a World Cup in the middle, with us suffering an incredible run of injuries, which have made our job so much more difficult. I mean, I think I mentioned it last night on Talking Points that the loss of Bentancur has been absolutely key for us this season because he makes that 2-man midfield work.
Agree. Sean, I'm going to stop you right there because lurking underneath my screen is the one, the only, Darius 3K. Good evening, Darius. How are you?
I'm good. I'm doing good. I'm trying to sort my camera out, make sure I'm looking good for you guys. I'm okay.
Good.
I don't really know how to feel about Spurs as we, I heard you guys talking about the talking points we spoke about yesterday. Wasn't much positivity to speak about in terms of Tottenham, but watching United drop points, that's fun. Watching Chelsea lose to Real Madrid is fun. So I guess I'm getting my joy from seeing the downfall of other teams at the moment, which goes to show you how far low Tottenham has gone. So yeah, I'm good. I'm good, I'm good, and I'm happy to be talking with you lot. So
that's good. You know what? It's so true though, isn't it? Where we've got to laugh because I said to a lot of people today at work, I said, imagine a lot of kids waking up this morning asking their parents, how can a team score 4 goals and draw the game? Can please explain that to us? Because, and I was talking to the guy at work, he's an Arsenal fan, and he went, okay, so he said, so United scored 4. I said, are you not listening? I said, how can a team? So he goes, so what was the score? I said, work it out. United scored 4 goals and they didn't win the game. He's like, oh, they drew. I'm like, oh my God, you know what?
2 own goals.
Yeah. Right. So what I asked, Sam, did you answer the question about how important the game is?
It's important, I guess, for us. If we're looking to end the season well and we want to be in that Champions League chase, because I don't think Newcastle have gone. Personally, they're on the same points as Manchester United. We've got to play both those teams. So both those teams are well within our range because we have to play both of them. The problem being is we've got to play both of them back to back and then go to Anfield, which is a tough ask for anybody. So this game is important that if you pick up the 3 points, it keeps the pressure on, and then we can roll on to the next game. And the old saying is, it's one game at a time. So we win this one, we go on to the next game. We then just take it game by game.
I totally agree. Darius, we were just saying about the table that obviously Newcastle, Man United, both Uniteds have played 29, both on 56. We've played 30 and we're on 53. So going into tomorrow's game, it's a must-win game for us to keep the pressure on them, because with the next 3 games that are coming up, we need to win this one. Are you in agreement with that?
No, the game means absolutely nothing. I'm sorry to say that to you. I guess in terms of what Sam said, he's 100% right in terms of getting a Champions League spot and finding a manager who might want to, prefer to manage a team who's in that Champions League. But for me, like, after the performances against Brighton and who was it before that? Was it Everton before that?
Everton, Southampton,
and Southampton was the main one as well for me. Don't mean nothing to the players, so it don't mean nothing to me really. I'm not bothered what happens. They've proven to me over the last 3 games now that they don't really care what the result is. I think they kind of stumbled into a win on the weekend, and I think if they stumble into a win again against a team that's fighting for their life, really, then happy days, I guess. If not, nothing really matters, does it? Because these players don't really care about anything. So realistically, for me, it doesn't mean anything. But if we're going to talk, in terms of Tottenham and finishing as high as possible, then we have to pick up points against Bournemouth. I mean, they haven't been great. And defensively, I think they've conceded the most goals in the league, if I'm not mistaken. So
7, yeah.
So, what more than us?
Yeah, we've conceded 42.
I know, which is terrible to think about. We're not that far off them. So, I mean, we're the same as we are Bournemouth either way. So, yeah, it's not great. But again, something to look at is the amount of goals they've conceded. And if we can take advantage, with the players that we've got up front, then hopefully we can get a result quite, I wouldn't say easily, but we should be comfortable in this game.
Yeah. So, Sean, as I was just about to say, in terms of the game tomorrow, it's Ultravox for Darius, innit? Because it means nothing to him. Oh, Tottenham. Right. Where are we? Okay, so position 5, Bournemouth for 15th. We've won 16. They've won 8. So we've won double the games. Drawn 5, drawn 6. We've lost 9. They've lost 16 times. And this is the bit where we talk about a lot. Average goals scored 1.83 to us, 0.93 to them. So it's almost double. Goals conceded per match, 1.4 to 1.9. And they probably got the worst record. But look at that, 1.4 to 1.9. And average chances created, 1.3 to Tottenham, 0.93 to Bournemouth. Sam?
It's always interesting seeing these things, but lately it's difficult to kind of go with it from a statistical point of view, because it looks again clear on stats on paper that we should be winning this game. They're away from home. We've got a lot to play for. So have they. So they can't just come to park the bus. They could have a game plan to try and score late on in the game, as some managers tend to do if they can keep clean sheets for much of the game. But if we score early, that changes everything. And this is the problem with Spurs. If we attack and we go for it and we get a goal, that will change the whole dynamics. If we go into this and it's cagey and they get in the game and they keep in the game and then it's 0-0 at halftime and then it's, they've got something to then hang on to. So start soon, start quickly, should I say, and then get the goal and it'll be a completely different game. And I think we'll win it. But looking at the stats, we're comfortable in terms of what we've got there to beat this lot.
Sean, agree?
Yeah, I mean, you can look at stats all you like, but it's to me, it's the eye test, and I am concerned that the likes of Billing and Solanke will give our defenders a torrid time tomorrow.
Yeah.
We can see chances. They're very good at long shots. How many goals do we concede from distance? With backing off and backing off. But statistics. I prefer the post-match statistics. I'm still staggered that last week against Brighton we had 35% possession at home. Shocking. At home, and it's why I'm not in favour of the super coach approach anymore. I'd rather we had a project manager. We reverted to type and started working with the younger players and rebuilding. As you were saying earlier, or someone was saying earlier, we're taking our joy from other performances. So that late Bobby Firmino goal at Anfield last week made me smile.
Yeah,
particularly because I was sat in a pub with Gooners in it. So yeah, it was very good. It's going back to the table, to see us 20 points behind Arsenal after what I thought we'd put them in their box last spring is alarming. Is alarming.
Crazy.
But my hope is that I will start to see the Arsenal wobble, and maybe last week was the start of it. Who knows?
Darius, looking at the stats there, does it look like it's going to be? It's definitely not going to be 0-0. Put it that way.
No, I mean Bournemouth are notorious for being somewhat decent going forward and being absolutely awful going back. I think they have a couple players that I like. I think my main threat, I think Sean mentioned about the long shots, is Marcus Tavernier. He scored a great goal. I think it was last week. He scored a banger last week. And again, players like that who can find space, when we've got someone like Perisic who 1v1 isn't the fastest person, his feet aren't the quickest. He's not going to react very quickly. Somebody like Marcus Tavernier who can play off the left or the right. If he cuts in and gets an opportunity to shoot against, again, a keeper like Forster who's not the most agile and mobile. He's made great saves, but if you've got somebody who can pick out a corner very well, I'm not really giving Forster the chances of saving it. And really any keeper, if you do as well as he did last week. So things to be worried about. But again, I mean, look at the stats. Really and truly, if we're looking at positives, almost 2 goals a game is decent, I guess. Clean sheets is awful, absolutely awful. And I think that's a combination of goalkeepers and defense. I think it's no individual error, but it's a collective error of the defensive Spurs that have just led to having 2 less clean sheets and a team who's conceded 57 goals in the league. I think that's probably the worst stat there, closely followed by the average goals conceded per match, which is also just as bad. So it's all defensive, really. That's what it is. I think, again, it's not ending 0-0 like you said, Sid. It's probably going to be, we'll get to the predictions later on, but you're probably going to see a little bit of an end-to-end game. If not, then it's just going to be errors from the defense really leading to goals. So expect quality to be low in this game. I don't think we're going to see scintillating football. We're going to see anybody, going forward and intertwining passes and making good movements. I think it'll be a lot of errors leading to goals and, a lot of head shaking and faces in palms because it's inevitable what can happen when these two teams collide. I mean, some of the stats conceding 2 goals a game is wild. And the fact I can't get over the fact that they've only got 2 more clean sheets than us. So, well, they've got 2 less clean sheets. So.
The other thing to mention is that go back a year ago, we were scoring over 2 goals per game.
I know,
as well as tightening. So, we've fallen back, and obviously we can attribute that where we want. Certainly, Kane has done his bit, but I wouldn't say he's got much support from the other strikers this season. But remember, Bournemouth went to Highbury or went to the Emirates recently and took a 2-goal lead, and by all accounts, were very, very unlucky to lose in the 7th minute of injury time.
Yeah.
So they, on their day, they can play football.
Absolutely.
And we shouldn't underestimate them. We underestimate them at our peril.
We are.
Just a couple of things to add. Sorry, Sid, I'm not going to take long on it, but
That's right.
with regards to the goals, although you guys are right, we're scoring less goals average than we did last season. It's across the board because the top two are the only ones above us in terms of goals scored. Man United have scored, Newcastle 48, Manchester United have scored 44, then we got 55, Aston Villa 41, Brighton Hove Albion 52. So
and we're quite far ahead of them as well, to be fair.
Exactly. So it looks as if we are poorer in terms of that, and that's true, but that's across the board in terms of everybody. The problem we've got is the clean sheets. You know what I mean? We ain't got enough clean sheets out of, 30 games?
Atrocious. Absolutely atrocious.
They need to go Primark.
If we had, like I said, and just check a few of the results. The Wolves game, again, we probably should have won that one. And the Everton and Southampton getting draws out of ones we should have won. That's 4 points. You could even possibly say that's 7 points had we won the Wolves game, and see where that puts us. It's fine margins in this game, but because of the pressure of this game tomorrow, it's who's got that little bit extra. I think we have. I think, it's going to be mistakes, but have we got the extra X factor in a goal scorer? Yeah, we have.
True. Right. This is played 11 games. I mean, not played that many. I mean, Sam, me and you have always discussed this. Look at this, right? And even you, Sean, where it's overwhelming. 8 wins, 5 at home. We've won 3 away. They've won 1 game against us, and we've had 2 draws. Right? You know what I'm going to ask you, Sam, don't you? This one, as a neutral, I'm going to ask Darius first. Darius, as a neutral, you look at them stats. What are you saying?
I don't think I should say what I should say, because at the end of the day, if I say it and the opposite happens, I'm going to be labelled as Mr. Dr. Tottenham himself. I will be found out as the Dr. Tottenham. So I'm not going to say anything to jinx the team. But I think we can all use our 2 eyes and our heads and see what the outcome should be looking at those stats. I mean, yeah, you're right, Sid. I think 11 games in the grand scheme of things, you look in the Premier League, isn't a lot of games to play against a team, but 5 wins at home, 3 wins away, 2 draws, and they've only won once at home. And we're playing at home, right? I'm guessing?
We are.
So
I'll give you a little stat as well.
Oof.
2 stats. I think from all the promoted teams, we currently haven't lost to a promoted team. And if we win tomorrow, we level the record. I think it's about 20-something games, which Chelsea hold at the moment. We're 1 behind them. So if we beat them tomorrow, we go level with Chelsea as beating the teams that have been promoted consecutively. And also, if we win tomorrow, again, for the 2nd season on the trot, we'll have done the double of over all the promoted teams that have come up from last season.
I don't think that's a good look to me.
I was going to say, you could say that.
We're spanking shit teams, basically, is what you're telling me.
I'd want to see what it's like against the other top 4. That's what I want to see.
Our record against the big 6 is atrocious this season.
Yeah,
it's all right beating them little boys because I say expected to. You should beat them lot, especially at home. So that record, although it sounds good, it's the top 4, as Ari said, the top 6. We have to be getting results against them lot.
Yeah.
We obviously we beat Chelsea, but I'm not really, and City as well. I'm not really thinking.
Anywhere
but we lost to Liverpool.
Yeah. Exactly.
Who Bournemouth managed to beat at home.
Yeah. And Liverpool, who are literally fighting with Chelsea for the top of the second half of the table. It's a bit crazy right now. So it's Sid, I want to hear what these guys say, but I don't think it's going to be any different because I already hear what you guys say about our amazing records against other teams.
Sean, you've got your hands in your head. Go on.
Well, I'm assuming when we're looking at the figure of 11 of the games played, is that 11 in the Premier League era? Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So for us old school people who say that football didn't start in 1992, it's a skewed fact because I think if you looked historically, you'd probably see it. We're actually even better than these statistics show. But anyway, I mean, do you know what? It means nothing. It means nothing. Current form, in our case, doesn't mean anything.
Yeah,
I mean,
I think you have to look at the last 5 games or the last few games we played against them, because if you take this history, that might go back to a long time. And
There you go.
yeah,
there you go, 2018 and stuff like that. Not really bothered about that. It's 2023. A lot's changed since 2018.
Yeah. So looking at that, October 2022, Bournemouth 2, Spurs 3. We were 2-0 down and we come back to win 3-2. 2020 after that, Bournemouth 0, Spurs 0. 2019, Spurs 3-2. 2019 again, Bournemouth 1, Spurs 0. And then 26th of December, Boxing Day, 5-0. So that's the last 5 meetings with Bournemouth. So we've won 1, 2, 3, lost 1, drawn 1. Anybody want to have
the next table's the better one, where the last 5 games, I guess that's what you're going to put up. This doesn't mean anything because 2020, even when we played them back in October, a lot's changed. We've got no manager now.
We've had how many? We've had 4 managers in that space of time.
we only won the game at Bournemouth because we brought Bentancur on as a substitute, and he dragged us.
And he won that game for us, didn't he? Yeah, exactly.
He won that game for us. We don't have Bentancur tomorrow.
You have to look at the last few games that we've
There we go.
This is what I'm interested in seeing.
Last 5 games, we won Brighton. I don't know how, why, when. 2-1. They beat a woeful Leicester 1-0. We drew with Everton. They lost to Brighton 2-0. We drew with Southampton 3-3. They beat Fulham 2-1. We beat Forest 3-1. They lost to Villa 3-0. We lost to Wolves 1-0. They won at Liverpool. Oh, they beat Liverpool 1-0. So that's what you Sam. That's what you wanted to have a look at.
Yeah. So
we won 2, drawn 2, lost 1, and they've won 3, lost 2.
Yeah. So their record looks obviously is better than ours currently going back. But if you look at the teams that they've played, Leicester, they won against Leicester. Leicester are in the bottom 3. Brighton, they didn't beat Brighton. Fulham, they didn't beat Fulham. They did beat Fulham. They've got no Mitrovic at the moment. Aston Villa, well, again, Aston Villa's a good team at the moment, presently. Liverpool, basket case. So it might look impressive that they got 3 wins and 2 losses against our 2 wins, 2 draws, and a loss. But my point is, I think they've changed the way they play. I don't know if they're necessarily going to go for it because it seems to me that they haven't got a lot of goals in them. It doesn't appear to be that they've got a lot of goals in from those stats. That's a good thing for us because if they put it on us, like how Brighton put it on us from a pressing perspective, that's where we have our problems. If we can control the game to a degree and we can get that first goal, I'm telling you now, it should be, not guaranteed, but it should be easier to play the team because they have to go for it. They can't afford a draw. They're going to look at games and think, yeah, Tottenham's a hard game, but they've seen how we've been playing at home. They would have looked at Brighton last week and said, guys, we put it on them and we could actually get something from the game. So I think that they'll have the mentality to go for it, but it's all about us getting at start and getting a goal early.
Sean, anything to add to that?
No, really. I mean, Sam just tells it as it is, as usual. It's you know,
it is what it is.
I mean, it goes to show that since we get 3 points for a win, sometimes winning and losing is not as bad as, you know, our patchy form. I mean, look at that Southampton game. It still rankles that we were 3-1 up with 15 minutes to go. 3-1 up against a team who are poor.
I don't think
and yes, we had a VAR decision against us in the last minute, but we should never have got to that position. Never got to that position. The only good thing is it got us rid of the Turin troll. And that's about the only good thing I see from that, because I'm sorry, I don't buy the Conte super coach. He's a spoilt little brat, and he's best gone. So let's not worry about that. Let's just watch the game and take the joy that we can. You know, whether it's us winning.
Just look at that. Those 2 games, Everton won, 10 men. Southampton won, I don't know how we lost. But if we should have won those games, that's 4 wins on the trot we would have had potentially. Now, we were unbeaten in 4 games, which people will say that's a good record. But the teams that we should have, Everton, Southampton, Forest, on paper, we should be beating them. They're all struggling. Brighton was a lucky result, and Wolves, you can lose against Wolves away from home. But the other four games above, had we picked up them points against Everton and Southampton, we'll be talking about Spurs differently. But the Turin troll might be still around.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Darius, anything to add?
Mute.
Darius.
You're on mute, fam.
Oh, sorry. You asked this question. You asked a question earlier about how important the game was.
Yeah.
And I can't lie to you. I've just looked at our fixtures, and it's the big 3 games coming up next.
I know.
Yeah. We know.
So I do think this game is more important than I'm trying to make it out to be. I can't lie to you. We have to get 3 points this game because for all we know, it could be 0 in the next 3 afterwards.
Exactly.
So, just to add on to what you said about the fixtures, I guess you could agree. Sometimes maybe the 9 points is better than the 8 that we've got. But again, when you look at it, self-inflicted wounds in the 2 games. Well, I guess he couldn't really do anything about the key goal, but Southampton was a self-inflicted wound, and the Wolves game, I think we maybe should have won. So, and just going off that Southampton game, I think that and the Leicester game, maybe recency bias is included, but I think they're the 2 worst results of our season by far. Because, again, might be here, might be not. Had we won that game at Southampton, containing maybe a completely different story. But had we, done anything to just hold out in that Southampton game, I think we might have had the confidence to win the Everton game, and it could have been a completely different story.
But you won the Everton game. They had 10 men for half hour or more.
I mean, so I mean, that Southampton game and Leicester game just awful. But I mean, what are we gonna do? That doesn't mean anything. We've got to wait and see. I already know what my prediction is going to be.
Cool.
Just judging off the last results that I saw, the past 5.
Yeah, we'll come on to that in a couple of minutes. Right, so going on to team news. Obviously, we know Emerson's not ready. Richarlison's going to be ready. And then it's the rest with Benton, Core, Davis. But someone that does keep their place tomorrow after an outstanding performance last week, and it's been Stellini's rubber stamped it today, is someone who's definitely starting tomorrow and will be there, is VAR. VAR is definitely starting tomorrow for Tottenham Hotspur Football Club because he had an outstanding game last week.
Man of the match. Man of the match.
Right. Team prediction. This is what I'm thinking because, again, I think it speaks for itself because of the injuries we've got. So that's my prediction. Again, same as last week, basically. But I think Richie comes in instead of Kulusevski. Any thoughts on the team, guys?
Yeah, I'll touch on this quick. I wouldn't start Richarlison for this game, just in the fact that he hasn't played for a while. He does need to get confidence back, but if he's still playing Son, then why is Kulusevski getting dropped? Then it's one or the other. So for me, same team. They've had a week's rest. They're not playing 2 games a week at this moment, apart from next week when we play Man United midweek. But even so, they're not in any other competition. They're not tired. These players should be able to play at home and win comfortably tomorrow, but we know what it's going to be like. It's not going to be comfortable, but we should win.
Yeah. Darius, any alterations, or do you agree with Sam?
You were spot on last week, weren't you? Player for player. So I think you're probably going to be 2 for 2, Sid, since I've returned. I don't know if this is a team you want, Sid, but for me, this is not the team that I want. Yeah. I just can't think of any other replacements, so I guess I can't really argue. Changes I would make, maybe Danjuma, maybe Kulusevski. Yeah, Kulusevski to start. Maybe I would personally start Pape Sarr over Skip. I'm a fan of Skip, but I'm not. I think he's good. I do think he's a very good player, but I just once we get Basuma back and Bentancur back, and we have a manager who's playing more towards their style of play, I don't think Skip's going to get a look in this team. And in terms of potential, don't know if I think that Sarr's got more, but I just would like to see maybe Sarr just get more minutes because I know Skip's a very talented player. So I want to see Sarr, get a few more minutes and really, really give himself a go. And Skip hasn't really been performing the best. Both the midfield, I think Højbjerg's been okay again, but I think what can you change with the injuries that we've got? What can you change?
Yeah, because week in, week out, we've seen performances from certain players, and week in, week out, we've said he shouldn't be starting. Week in, week out, it's the same team, the same players starting. Son, for example, I'm going to come to you, Sean, on that one. Højbjerg and Skip are having stinkers every now and then, but they're starting because of our injury problems. And the reason I put this team is because I can't see Stellini changing it like Conte. I can't see him changing anything because he's going to stick with what he's got. Sean?
I was going
What's
to say,
that?
no, all I was going to say, it's difficult to play in the midfield too when you're not confident and you're being pressurized by every team that plays you. They know we've got two in midfield. So even if we've got Bentancur in there, we've struggled in midfield. So I'm not going to put it all on Skip. I personally believe if Skip played as a, that holding midfielder just behind in a 3-man midfield, he'd be awesome because he does everything that needs to be done in that position. As a 2-man midfielder, you're always going to be susceptible, particularly when a team plays 3. And we've seen that even when a team plays 2, we're not necessarily the best in midfield. So we have to address that. The new manager would have to address that. Are we going to be playing 2 in midfield? I don't think it's the best for us because I don't think those midfielders are dynamic enough. Them two on their own are dynamic enough to control a 2-man midfield. If we've got Bentancur in there, it's slightly different. You've got Bissouma in there, possibly. But even he struggled in a 2-man midfield.
Sean?
Yeah, it's an interesting choice, Sid, that you've made with Richarlison. I'm not sure that he's going to start tomorrow, just judging by the body language of Stellini in the press conference this afternoon.
Yeah.
But I need to address the Son situation. Son was made man of the match last week, I believe, in the vote, and I was distinctly underwhelmed by him. He made 2 telling contributions, it has to be said. Obviously, the goal and the significance of it being the 100th goal of an Asian player cannot be underscored. But that was after 10 minutes.
Yeah.
And then for the next 70 minutes, he disappeared. Yeah. And it was only with his nutmeg pass to Højbjerg for the Kane winner, which was 10 minutes from the end, that was the only other significant contribution. And yet he got man of the match, and I was just like, "There's something rotten here, in the state of Denmark." Because, and talking of Denmark, Højbjerg was rubbish in the first half, but improved significantly in the second half. And I'm a big defender of Højbjerg because I think it's only in the stadium that you really get to see the effect that he can have when he's on top of his game.
Yeah.
TV it's not a good friend to our friend Pierre. So, I think it's going to be, I would like to try Danjuma in Son's place. And I would like to try Kulusevski where you've got Richarlison. But other than that, I quite like the idea of Sarr as well. Yeah. But, it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen.
Let's see. Right. Before we go on to the prediction, let me quickly go through some of the comments. Chris Agombo, big up everyone. Good evening to you. Kevin Murray, in the local, having a Guinness, long week, couple of gooners whispering in the corner. I'm surprised they're not shouting. Dinosaur is saying, panel, what do you think this is my team for the Poch to coach and bring youth into 4-3-3? I think that's going to be a conversation for TP one day somewhere. Dinosaur. So keep that in mind. We'll come back to that one.
It won't be because Poch is not coming.
I know he's not. Exactly. Kevin Murray.
Is that facts? Has that been stated?
It's not facts, but he's not on the top of the list.
No.
Oh right. Okay. Good. I'm saying that's good.
Ancelotti's committed now. He said he's staying till 2024 at Madrid. So all the ones that were wishing for the job at Madrid, they ain't getting it. So.
Yeah, but there's also a job that I think, given what forgot his flipping first name, Galtier, Christophe Galtier, the absolute clown, after what he's been saying and been found out to be saying, I think that PSG job's going to become vacant very, very soon. So,
I've heard that as well.
Yeah, obviously Poch isn't going to go back there, but as
you know what? I don't know what. I don't think Nagelsmann will necessarily go to PSG. I think he's the type of manager that wants to prove himself that he's one of the best. That's his sort of mannerisms at PSG. I don't think you prove anything if you win a league. If you win the Champions League, different matter. So that could be the only reason why he would go there to win the Champions League. But I know that it's slightly different in France at the moment. But I don't think it's a massive challenge for him if he went there personally.
Yeah. Harry Baker saying, I'm going tomorrow and I want to see Danjuma. You'll probably see him, but you'll see him on the bench.
It doesn't matter anymore. I mean, if we're
No.
not signing him on a permanent, as sad as it sounds, and I would like to see him play professional with the squad, I just think what's the point? Like, we're not going to see him after next year, so
Exactly.
yeah,
Exactly.
no
Right.
point. No point anymore.
It's time for the prediction because I need to go and eat.
Kill me, boy. Oh.
Start with you, Sean. What you reckon? What you saying tomorrow?
I think Bournemouth's desire will mean that they will come out of the game with a draw tomorrow.
Okay.
Ooh, really?
Yeah, I think they would. I think their desire to stay in the division they'll get a draw tomorrow. I can see it being 2-2, and I can see Kane scoring for us, and possibly.
What, he's getting a brace or?
No. Kane will score one, and I think another from. Trying to guess now, maybe. Well, maybe Kulusevski. Why not?
Okay, that's fine. Kevin Murray saying 2-1 to Spurs.
That's what I did too.
2-2.
To Spurs. Kevin Murray saying Richarlison is going to score 2 goals. And we've also got somebody, our evening all RVTV 2-1 to Spurs. Harry Baker wants to see, obviously, Spurs win tomorrow, so he's saying 4-2 to Spurs. Darius.
No, you're coming to me next.
Yes.
You see, it was easy for me, this prediction. However, I am still torn between two. Instantly, when I saw those 5 fixtures that we previously said, before I saw those 5 fixtures, my head said 3-2. And then I saw that we'd beaten 3-2 twice before. Obviously, I completely forgot about the 3-2 earlier on this season. But
yeah.
I'm saying 2 3-2s against Bournemouth. I'm going to go for 3-2. I was very close for going for 3-1. And you know what, Sean? I could completely see your result happening as well. 100% could see your result happening. However, I have a feeling that because of the desperation of Bournemouth and because they are a point for them, I don't think is great. I think they need to get 3. So they will take the lead. We're going to be putting in all our swear words in that group chat. We're going to be effing and blinding. But I think we will get 2 goals back in maybe the first half, potentially early into the second half. And then as they try to, go for a goal, bring a goal back, get a point, I think we'll catch them on the counter. I think Kane will score 2. I think 1 will be a penalty. And I think maybe a 3rd from a corner. Who's going to score a header? Oh, God, Eric Dyer. As much as I despise the man, getting his big head on it and getting a 3rd. So I'm going to say 3-2. Yeah, and obviously, because I said Bournemouth will try and go for a winner when it's 2-2. I think we'll make it 3-2.
Cool.
On a counter attack.
Toxic headshot 4-0 to Spurs. Sam, what are you saying?
I've got a slightly different view about Bournemouth now. I'm just looking at the table. I know you put up they were 15th, so they're on 30 points. They're on the same amount of points as Wolves, who were 13th. Sorry, as West Ham, who were 14th. Wolves on 31, and then Crystal Palace were 12th on 33, which means there's a lot of teams in between. If you look at the bottom 4, Everton, Forest, Leicester, and Southampton, their results have been terrible. Even Everton have only won 1 in the last 5 games. The others, Forest, Leicester City, haven't won in their last 5 games. Because of that, I think they're going to continue that form, and it's the number of teams below Bournemouth that's going to probably keep them maybe more competitive than not. So they might not necessarily look at this game as thinking we have to win it.
Yeah.
But what I think they'll do is they'll think we don't want to lose it and we're going to play tight and we're going to keep it tight. Hence the reason why Spurs have to try and get that first goal as early as possible to change their mindset. Saying all of that, I think it's going to be probably not the best quality game in the world, but both teams don't keep clean sheets. So from set pieces, we are susceptible. They're susceptible. So I'm going to go for a 3-1 to Spurs based on the fact that I just think it'll be a mistake-ridden game and we are at home, and I don't think necessarily getting all 3 points for them tomorrow is the be-all and end-all for their season. Their home games.
Let me see their fixtures. Have a look at their fixtures.
Yeah,
I think you might be right, Sam. You might be right on that.
I'm looking at their fixtures after they've got West Ham away. Sorry, at home.
That's a huge.
Then they've got Southampton away. Then they've got Leeds at home. So they're the games that they want to pick points up in, as opposed to us.
Yeah. Well, because we've got a really good record at home this season, apparently, and the stats are saying that we've got a very good record at home.
Well, that's the only way we can explain that we're in the position that we are.
Yeah.
Sid, is that we've got a good record at home.
And that's thanks to the fans.
It's just I've just had myself so many performances. I feel like I should be tearing my eyes out. It was like a Clockwork Orange experience going to see Spurs this season.
But add that to the fact that Liverpool and Chelsea have been shocking. That's the reason why we're in their place.
Yeah, true. Yeah, true.
Yeah, so I'm in agreement with you, Sam. I think Spurs will win 3-1 purely because we're at home, purely because Bournemouth, like you said, depending on if they come at us or what their mentality is, whether they come for a draw or whatever. But I think we can pick them out with what we've got going forward. So I think 3-1 to Spurs. I'm not bothered who scores, but as long as
they would take a draw now, Bournemouth, because of the games that they've got next. If they beat West Ham, that's, they'll go above West Ham in that sense, depending on what West Ham's result.
We have
Southampton after that, and then Leeds after that. So all them games there'll be massive changes. But if they pick up 2 wins out of them 3, particularly because they've got 2 home games, I think they see them safe. So
we have to win this game.
We have to.
We have to,
man.
man.
Look at the comments that Dino saying if you take Son out, who else is going to score? But what games has Son scored in? He scored against Brighton. He scored against Leicester. It's Crystal Palace away.
Yeah.
God for Harry
I mean,
Kane.
it's like we can't rely on him.
Well, we're not. Well, we'll see what happens tomorrow, innit? I've got to go, guys, because I've got to go to the mosque. But
okay, mate.
Yeah, I mean, we're all saying Spurs to win. You're saying so, and
I'm saying
everybody.
a draw.
You're saying a draw. Everyone else in the comment section are saying Spurs to win as well.
Team
So
have killed me this year.
yeah, killing everyone, mate. They're killing us softly, as Fuji would say. But thank you very much to everyone in the comment section. Thank you for all your comments. Have a lovely weekend. Hope Spurs don't spoil it for you tomorrow. Thank you, Sam. Thank you, Sean. Thank you, Darius. Make sure you smash that like button, subscribe to the channel, and tune in tomorrow for the reaction show. Hopefully we'll all be laughing, or we could all be swearing F words to number 1s, number 2s, and everything. And we'll have to try and gag Sean, because if we get beat tomorrow, then Sean will be at it again. But enjoy the rest of your Friday.
Let's hope we get a performance. Come on, you Spurs. Let's hope we get a performance.
Come on, you Spurs.
This is it. Let's have a proper performance. And come on, you Spurs.
Thank you.